Hey everyone, thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to go through one of my favorite functions in Excel, the SUMIFS function. This is a great function when you need to total data by more than one criteria, and it's especially good if you need to do SUMIFS with date ranges. And so we're going to walk through those processes today. If you've ever seen any of my Etsy templates or seen my tutorials that I walk through here on YouTube, you will notice that the SUMIFS function is everywhere. It's one of the most important functions that I use, and I, again, use it personally on a day-to-day basis. And so we'll go ahead and go to our screen. And the data that we're going to work through today is sales data. So we're going to see column A for our date, column B is the transaction number, not really relevant, but I left it there. Column C is the item, column D is the channel of where we sold it, and column E is the amount. So this is the column that we want to total. And so a SUMIF function is pretty easy to do. So we'll start with just a straight SUMIF, and then we'll walk into the SUMIFs. So SUMIF function, you type it in there. The first column you select is your range. And you can do this as a range or as a full column or a range. So for example, if you want to do it this way as well, you could. The only thing about this is if you do in a small range like this, if you put anything below it, if you add anything, it won't capture that. And also, anytime you use a SUMIF or a SUMIFS function, you got to make sure that this range is exact. In other words, it's going to have to always start at row 2. It's going to have to always end at row 31. So if you are just doing kind of a range like that, do it that way. However, if you want to, let me fix that. If you want to, you can just select the entire column. And as long as you don't have any extraneous data at the top or bottom of your information, if you're keeping a clean data table, this is a good way to do that. Then I'll select criteria, and the criteria here is that one, the item 1, and then you want to select the amount that the row or the column, that you want to total. And if I close that, now you can see I total everything on item 1. Now if I click this little green button here and turn that into a plus, and if I hit left click and drag that down, now I've actually totaled everything for each of these items across the board. And so that is a SUMIF, really easy function. Now, if we use the SUMIFS function, the first thing you'll notice doing a SUMIFS is that the first range that you pick is this one, is the sum range. So the range that you're going to total. And then if I select there, then once you select the range that you're going to total, then you start entering all the different columns that you want to group. And so in this case, the first one that we're going to want to do is the item range, because that's the first criteria that we want to total for. So we're going to grab column C, and then we're going to select J4 item 1 as our first set of criteria. And so that's the first criteria. We've actually just built the SUMIF function, but just kind of in a different order. Now we're going to start adding more ranges, and you can actually see, if you can see here, you can add lots of different criteria as you go. So the next criteria range is the channel, and I'm going to select the channel, and then I'm going to select my criteria, and that's going to be Shopify. Now, one thing I am going to do here is I'm going to put a $sign right there, because what I want is when I drag this down, I want this particular one to say here in row 3. And you'll see that. I'll show you as I drag down. And so if I click there, you can see now I'm totaling by everything that's item 1 and by Shopify. And so if I drag that down, and I'll just click into the formula, you can see because of that $sign, it stayed up there. But now you can see, like I said, you're totaling by column E. Your first criteria you're looking for is column C. You're looking for that item. Your second criteria is column D, and then you're looking for Shopify. And so that is the SUMIFS function for that type. Now the last SUMIFS that I want to show, and it's really critical because it's got some nuances to it, is I want to show SUMIFS for building a date range. In other words, from a certain time to a certain time. So in this case, we're going to do a date range of anything starting on 2/1/2022 and ending on 3/31/2022. We're going to build a range like that. And so we'll start this again, SUMIFS, and we'll grab our range that we want to total first. We're going to grab our first criteria again, which is item 1. And now we're going to get into our second criteria. So I'm going to grab column A because I want to look for the dates. And now I just can't select this cell, because if I just select that cell, it'll only look for things on the date 2/1/2022. I need to give it some characters in front of it. And this is probably the only place I've ever seen this in Excel. So it's a little odd how you do this compared to, an if function somewhere else. What you have to do is you put a quotation mark, and you're going to do greater than, equal to, and you do need to do it in order. So if you're doing a greater than or less than, that does need to come first before an equal. And then close that parenthesis. Then you got to hit it the ampersand, the and button. I think that's what that's called. And now you select the cell you want to grab. And I'm going to go ahead and put that $sign again right there. And so what this is saying is that look for anything that's greater than or equal to 2/1. And I'm actually just going to close it right there just to show that first. So now you can see this is actually a smaller number than here. And the reason is because it's taking out these first couple items for item 1 that were in January. And that's why that has been reduced. If I would actually, one of the nice things is if I change this now, you can actually see that actually changes if I change that date range. Let's undo that. However, in this case, and so if you just need to say, I need dates greater than a certain period, you would actually be done now. But in this case, I want to show you how to do it in a date range between two sets of dates. So let's go ahead and go back into our function. And we need to add one more criteria to this. And so I'm going to grab the date range again. And then now I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do the less than or equal to, close the quotes, and then hit the ampersand. And then I'm going to select this one. And again, I'm going to put the $sign right there. And if I close this, see how this is actually even lower than before. And now we'll go ahead and drag this down. Now what's really nice, and this is one of the reasons why I use it in the templates that I use, is what's really nice is because I put these out here, I can change this date range. So if I want to see this for 4/30/2022, and I want to change this to 3/31/2022, this changes as we go, which is a really nice feature of that SUMIFS function. And that is it. That's how the SUMIFS function works in all the different kind of criteria. Just remember, and I'll show this formula one more time, one of the most critical things if you're using dates is to remember that you're doing quotation mark, whatever your wildcards are, greater than, less than, equal. If you just want it for greater than without the equal sign, you can take that equal sign out. And then you close the quotation mark. So quotation marks, and then the and, or the at button, whatever that is, the ampersand. You put that right there as well. And that is it. And so that is our lesson today. Again, this is one of probably the most important functions I've came across. Came across it the first time actually building templates for Etsy. Realized that I could probably use this in quite literally every type of thing that I do for my normal work. So it's a great function. One of the things that we're going to do next, and then in one of our next videos coming up, that's not a tutorial of our Etsy sheets, is I'm going to take this function, the SUMIFS function, and I'm going to take the filter function for the video that I've done previously, and I'll leave a link to that, or leave a card to send you to that one if you want to see it. And I'm going to take those two functions, we're going to combine those two, and use those in a way to build your own bank reconciliation tool. Because one of the nicest things that I found in a lot of my templates that I've built is if you're doing a bank rec and you want to have a little bit more automation about how to build it, then you can actually use these two functions together to build a bank reconciliation tool that just is phenomenal. And so we'll do that next time. Thank you for staying on and watching this video. If you like this, enjoy this, please give it a like. Please consider following the YouTube channel. We're starting to add more instructional videos like this, but I also show tutorials on various templates that I sell on Etsy. You might want to take a look at those to see if there's one that might help you in your small business or side hustle or in your personal finances. And just take a look at the shop. There's a lot there. And take a look at some of our other videos here on YouTube. I hope you have a great day and hope you come back soon to see us again. Thank you.